Hey everybody, thanks for stopping by the channel today, and a very big Merry Christmas to all of you out there. I hope you're having a wonderful day. In today's video, we're going to be doing a full review of my very first micro brand purchase, and that was from the brand Nodus. You might have seen my unboxing a little while back. I bought this watch in the month of November, and so I've had a lot of time with it. I've worn it a lot. And it is the Nodus Sector Field, and this is the green dial version, so a little bit of Christmas colors here with the green dial. And in today's video, we're just going to go over all the specs and features, and I'm going to share my thoughts and opinions on this watch and let you know all the things I like about it and just a few things that I don't. And I'm going to let you know if it's going to be staying or leaving my personal collection. So let's get right into it. Alright guys, well here is the Nodus Sector Field Sequoia. That is the green dial version. And man, that dial is what really caught my eye with this watch. I love it. And we'll talk a little bit more about that here in a second. But let's start off with some specs and features. I'm not sure if there is a model number for this. I couldn't find one, so I left that blank, but the movement is that tried and true NH35 from Sequoia. This crystal on this watch is sapphire, has AR coating on the underside, and it also has a domed underside. So sometimes the dome on a crystal is on the top, but this one is domed underneath, and sometimes you can see that as you move the crystal. The case material is stainless steel 316L. Case diameter is 38 millimeters. Case thickness is 13 millimeters. And lug to lug, as I measured it, is 46.5. And lug width is 20 millimeters. Band material is stainless steel also. Water resistance on this field watch is 150 meters. And I weighed it with all of the links at 156 grams. Now the movement, if you're into watches, you're pretty familiar with the Sequoia NH35. Well-known movement used in a number of micro brands and watches from Sequoia. It is a hacking movement, a hand winding movement. It's 24 joules. Beats at 4 hertz, 21,600 vibrations per hour, and it has about a 41-hour power reserve. Now let's talk about the design and durability of this piece. It's a unique design, and I like it. I like the case shape. It's nice. The dimensions are nice, especially for someone like me with smaller wrists. That 38 millimeter case diameter is pretty much perfect. And the finishing on this as well is very nice on the case and the bracelet. There's that bead blasting finish that you see, but there's also polished portions as well. You can see there's a polished section here on the lugs and some other places. We'll talk about the bezel in a second. The design is somewhat unique, I think. You don't see a lot of watches, at least I haven't, that have these kind of squared off lugs. Also the lugs are drilled, which is nice when changing straps. I would like to see the case a little bit slimmer. It's 13 millimeters, so it would have been nice to see them slim that down a little bit. The screw down case back is there also. While we're talking about the case, you can see some design features there and some writing as well. Good water resistance at 150 meters for a field watch. That is great. And overall, this watch, I've found it to be very comfortable on my wrist. I haven't found it to be uncomfortable in any way. So very comfortable for me. The bezel on this watch has some polished portions. It's raised up here off of the case, and it might be hard to see, but you can see that the side of the bezel right here is polished, and then as you look at the face of the watch, the very top of the bezel all the way around is polished as well. But there is a slight chamfered edge, a bevel that is hard to pick up probably on camera. That is that bead blast finish also. The crystal is sapphire. It's flat, but it does protrude out of the case, and it does have a bevel as well, and that gives some distortion on the dial that is pretty cool, I think. And there's some good AR coating on this, and again, it's domed on the underside. I don't know if you can see that coming through there, but it's domed underneath, which is unique. The crown is nice. Another one of the things that drew me to this watch was the large crown, no crown guards, nice signed crown. This crown measures in almost at 7.5 millimeters in diameter, so very easy to use, very easy to grip. It screws in nicely, screws out nicely, and it's just very easy to use and manipulate as you need to. So I've really enjoyed the crown. Good coin edge there as well. You can get a good grip on it. The dial is perhaps my most favorite part about this watch. It's what really drew me to this piece initially. I love the fume feel to it. I love this shade of green that they've chosen to use on the outside dial, and then there's this inner dial as well. It's kind of a sandwich dial, and the darker green in the middle, I think, is a good shade as well. All around, I just love this dial. You get some pops of this brownish orange with the second hand, and you get some markings at the 12, 3, and 6, and 9 on that chapter ring that's in there. And then underneath the inner dial, you can see the cutout portions have that same color underneath. So pretty nice looking dial all the way around. The Arabic numerals are clear, and they are almost 3D. As you turn the watch, you can see that they are raised up off of that dial a little bit, and that's pretty unique. And we'll look at the lume in a second, but the hands are nice matte white, and they stand out and make this watch really legible. And I love how the hands, the minute hand goes pretty much all the way to the edge of the dial, and then that hour hand is pretty much right to the edge of the inner dial as well. They did a good job on that. There is a date window, as you might have noticed, and I'm not personally a fan of it. I think previous versions of this watch had no date, and then people asked for a date, and this is where they put it. And they might in the future make another no date version, I think. I'm glad they matched the background of the date with the dial. That's unique. It helps it blend in a little bit, but I'm not the biggest fan of it. I would have probably preferred them putting it at the 6 o'clock position, and actually on their new pilot watches that they've come out with, that's what they've done. They've put that date window down at the 6. So that's just a little gripe for me. It doesn't bother me too much. What else about the dial? I think that's about it, but it's just beautiful. Just beautiful. One of the things that really drew me to this watch. Well, speaking of the dial, that's where the lume is. So let's take a quick lume shot right now. All right, I charged it up a little bit, and they're using Super Luminova TC1 X1, according to their website, and it has definitely a blue glow to it, and looks good when it's charged up nicely. And it's pretty neat to see the distortion in the crystal there when the lume is glowing. All right, let's talk about the bracelet. The bracelet is well done. It almost, if you didn't know it, it almost looks like it's titanium in its look with that bead blasting finish, but everything is finished really nicely. And I've been wearing this watch and haven't really noticed any scratches, so that finishing is holding up pretty well. Good articulation, excuse me, on this watch, and as you can see, it articulates right from the lugs there, so there's no overhang. It has a true lug-to-lug distance when you measure it. There are screw-in pins here for the links. Nice H-link system for this bracelet. Overall, it's a good bracelet. It starts out at 20 millimeters and tapers down to about 18, and the clasp as well is simple but works nicely. Simple fold over clasp, some micro adjusts there, and solid and does its job, and you get that bead blasted finish as well, but you also do get some polishing there on the edges of the clasp, and you get Nodus printed or etched into the clasp right there. For me, there's one thing I wanted to mention when wearing this on the wrist with the end links. This might not happen to everybody, but the way that this link kind of falls down here, I wasn't the biggest fan of how that looked on my wrist. For people with wider wrists, it might do more of something like that, which would look a lot better. But for me, as it hangs down like that, I wasn't the biggest fan of that aesthetic. Just a minor thing, but something that bothered me a little bit. I also had an issue in my unboxing video where I think it was this little pin right in here was very loose, and I just reached out to Nodus and I said, hey, how can I fix that loose pin? And they didn't give me an answer as to how to fix it. They just said, hey, we'll send you a new clasp. So that's what they did. They sent it out right away, and this one is much better, a lot less play there, and I don't feel like that pin is going to fall out. So very nice of them to do that. I have the old clasp right here. So good customer service by them, and I appreciate that very much. That goes a long way. Now, as far as price goes, these go for $425 on Nodus's website, so you can check them out there. Not sure of their availability right now. They do have 4 different colorways. They have this green one, a black one, they have a blue dialed version as well, and I think more of a white colored, cream colored one, if I'm not mistaken. So you can check them out. I'll leave links to their website below if you're interested in purchasing one of these from Nodus. Let me get back in front of the camera and share my final thoughts. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, this was the very first micro brand watch that I purchased, and I don't think it will be the last, but I'm glad that I went with this brand, Nodus. I've been noticing a lot of the watches that they come out with, and I love a lot of their designs, and they looked like quality pieces, but now I can say that since I've had one in hand that they do make quality pieces. I can vouch for that. I can also vouch for their customer service with that little pin issue on the clasp. They took care of it right away without me asking them to do anything. They just said, okay, we'll send you a clasp out, and that's what they did. So great customer service, and just a really nice watch. The negatives that I have toward it are far outweighed by all of the positives. And so I'm really glad that I bought this piece, and I've enjoyed my time with it. But saying all that, unfortunately, this watch isn't going to be staying in my collection. And you say, what do you mean? I thought you liked the watch. Well, I do, but for some reason, even though I like a lot about it, I just haven't connected with it as I thought I would. I just haven't fallen in love with it, you might say, as I thought that I would. I don't think it's a bad watch. But I think it's one that I just have to pass on to someone else, and so I'm planning to sell this watch, but still, in spite of that, this watch is a great piece, and I'm probably going to purchase from Nodus again sometime in the future. So What do you think? I hope you enjoyed this review of the Nodus sector field with this green dial. Let me know your thoughts about it. If you liked the video, please leave a like, let us know. Please subscribe if you're not subscribed to the channel, and comment down below any questions you have or any comments you want to make. I love interacting with you down there, so please leave a comment. Well, that's it for today's video. Merry Christmas again. I hope you have a wonderful new year as well in 2021. But thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you next time here on The Town Watch.